You've seen them in the gym, in the park, on yoga mats, in homes, in cars, on office desks. Swell bottles are seemingly everywhere. Swell bottles are known for their triple wall insulation that is supposed to keep drinks cold for 24 hours or hot for 12 hours. As great as their sleek design, funky patterns, and ability to retain heat may be, one bottle can cost from $35 to as much as $75. And you have to wash them by hand. So how did a water bottle with a heavy price tag that isn't even dishwasher safe become a status symbol for everyone from office workers to fashionistas around the world? And more importantly, would you shell out $35 for a Swell bottle?
I have a couple of those.
Yeah, they're nice though. They last a long time.
Yeah.
It would have to put me to sleep. It would have to be my alarm clock, be my girlfriend or something.
The woman behind Swell is Sarah Kauss. Kauss was working at Ernst Young as a CPA when she landed on the idea for a luxury water bottle come fashion accessory. She said she cared deeply about the environmental impact of single-use plastic water bottles, but was just too embarrassed to carry a reusable one with her to work.
Because it looked like a camping accessory. It had a carabiner on the top. It had a bumper sticker on the side. It didn't look like something that I would want to leave on the table.
She had a feeling other people felt the same way. She was right. In 2018, global sales for reusable water bottles topped $8 billion. The water bottle went from a functional product to a status symbol, says marketing and branding expert Chris Black.
It's honestly when the Prius came into the marketplace. The Prius was the great equalizer because you didn't know if someone was just like a crunchy hippie who cared about the environment or if they were filthy rich and wanted to look like they cared about the environment. I fully believe that reusable water bottles are today's status symbols.
But back in 2010, the year Swell was launched, the idea that people would fork over $35 for a reusable water bottle was far from a sure thing. But Kauss was convinced that there was an untapped market for premium reusable water bottles. So she put up $30,000 of her own money to take Swell from an idea to a product. Her business school friends thought she was crazy.
But in my mind, I thought, if I would buy it as a consumer, there must be more people that are like me.
Kauss says once she settled on the shape and color, she did what every aspiring entrepreneur does: hit the road selling door to door. The only problem, she spent so much time perfecting her pitch, she didn't have a plan to actually fulfill her orders.
I had my little backpack and I had my bottle and I had my catalog that I had created myself. I took the pictures and did the layout, and I went in and I did my whole pitch. And the gentleman, his name was Kevin, he said, okay, I'll take 4 of them. And then I didn't know what to do.
Kauss said she learned a lot about running a business from those early clients. First-year sales were less than $100,000, and every cent went back into the business. To say she was onto something is a bit of an understatement. Her first big break came in July of 2011. Swell was offered to be featured by Oprah's O-List. The only problem? She only had one color for sale.
And she said, when you expand, call me back. And I hung up the phone and I thought, this is the time that we make the switch from a product to a company. And so I hung up the phone, left my lunch, walked straight out. I walked to Barnes & Noble and I bought a Pantone book, color book. And I myself picked out 6 new colors. I called the factory and said, I need 2 each of these 6 colors.
2 years later, a buyer from Starbucks cold called her with a proposition to put Swell bottles in 140 stores as a trial run.
And what happened is the bottle sold really well. There wasn't any marketing behind it. There wasn't any signage. It was just the bottle sitting on the shelf, and they all sold.
During that trip, she made a decision that would take Swell from a niche product to a household name.
Howard Schultz was standing at the coffee bar by himself, having a coffee in the middle of this opening. And I said to my buyer, there's your boss. Let's go talk to him. And she said, absolutely not. She said, I'm way too nervous to go talk to him. And I just thought, if I get on the plane tomorrow, I'm always going to regret that I didn't make a fool of myself and rush over to him. And so I went over, and I had a bright yellow Swell, and I went up and I introduced myself to him, and I said, listen, we're both running businesses. You probably don't know, but I'm one of your vendors, very small vendor, and we could be doing a lot more together if you just gave me the opportunity.
Schultz agreed to make Swell bottles the centerpiece of a Starbucks holiday campaign, as long as she promised she could actually fulfill the orders.
I said yes, I shook his hand, and then I got on the plane and thought, holy cow, what are we gonna do now?
The launch into Starbucks set Swell on a blazing path. Since then, they've worked with retail giants like Saks, Neiman Marcus, Target, Nordstrom, and Bloomingdale's.
I think the smartest thing Swell did in terms of marketing is just identify their customer early and just hit them over the head with it. I think that's how they got people to buy more than one, which is the hardest thing to do in this category.
20 million bottles have been sold in 65 countries, and Swell has been recognized as one of the fastest growing female-led companies in the world. Swell reported revenue of $100 million in 2016, the last year those figures were made available. Krauss still owns 100% of the company and hasn't taken any outside investment, and she may never have to. By 2017, bottled water edged out carbonated soft drinks and became the #1 beverage in the US. But with that growth came a flurry of negative news stories depicting how devastating single-use water bottles are for the environment. The rise in awareness is creating a business opportunity for companies like Swell and its competitors.
Anything that comes to prominence this quickly and makes this much money is based on trends, but I think people truly care about the environment, and if they don't, they should. So this stuff will last, it just will not be at this fever pitch that it is now.
But in the near future, the reusable water bottle market shows no signs of slowing. In fact, it is expected to hit $10.19 billion by 2024. Krauss wants to capitalize on that growth. In 2016, Swell introduced a more affordable line of water bottles called Sip by Swell. In 2019, they introduced a line of food containers called Swell Eats and Snack by Swell. The containers can carry price tags between $20 and $50. But hand washing is still recommended, which, let's be honest, is a little annoying.
It's gross. It's insane that Swell is not dishwasher safe. That seems like something that I hope that's like a priority for them as a company to get it there, because that makes it even more attractive, really.
The question is, will the cheaper bottles and new product offerings keep Swell on its current trajectory?
If you can get the trifecta of the perfect timing, the right price point, and finding that right customer, then you're gonna succeed, and that's exactly what they've done.
When I hear that people are using Swells as status symbols on their boardroom tables or at school or at yoga or wherever, I really love that, because it's not just that they're using a Swell, they're helping support the mission and everything that Swell stands for.